Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the EGU podcast, where you can learn all about mindset, energy, business, and abundance, plus all things spiritual from a variety of global experts. I am Michelle Reinhardt of A Million Dollar Mindset and founder of Entrepreneurs Globally Unite, delivering incredible value to you, for you. Shine bright, superstars. That's why you're here. Hey folks, you're here with Michelle Reinhardt, founder of EGU, Entrepreneurs Globally Unite. Grab yourself a pen and paper. Please turn off your zings and pings for 45 minutes and let us help you to set your intention to learn a new set of game-changing strategies to bring forward a new way for you in abundance strategies. The man to do just that is here with me today in a mini-mastermind session. Welcome to the show, Devesh Kumar.
Glad to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. I'm very excited to be discussing energy and everything with you, Devesh. Let me share with our viewers a little of your expertise before we find out a lot more about you. Devesh guides visionaries, entrepreneurs and change makers to amplify the best parts of themselves and gets them into the flow of wealth, freedom and fulfilment. Devesh ignites a deep sense of purpose and passion in his clients so they can amplify the best part of themselves and create more abundance, and the best part, inside and out. Devesh, what's going on? What's got so many people in a tailspin, and why are things so tough for so many people?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? So, look, I believe, firstly, I believe life is as hard as we make it. And unfortunately, and fortunately, because everything happens for a reason, but we've grown up in an area where, we're told that things have to be hard. We watched our parents grow up. We've watched people around us. We've been told how to live our lives and what to think and how to act for us to fit in. So everything comes down to how can I be happy based on what I have on the outside? And it's always this constant hustle. And it's this, you hear the word grind and push. And I think people are starting to wake up to that. And, even to put into perspective, 10 years ago, how much did you hear the word, meditation and mindfulness and consciousness? It was around, but it's becoming so much more common.
Yes.
And purely because people are having a sense of something deeper. It's moving away from just doing what needs to be done and actually moving towards having a sense of purpose and passion. And look, let's be honest. There was a survey like last year that said that 1/3 of the world has some form of depression and anxiety. And if you think about it, we live in an era where we have more millionaires, more abundance, more shiny objects than ever before, but people are the unhappiest than they've ever been. And, I think that's a sign of a big shift coming. So, look, in a nutshell, I think it's purely people are just disconnected from the outside because they're disconnected on the inside and they're feeling it now more than ever.
I completely agree with you. So when did the shift occur for you?
The shift really, for me, the time when everything actually changed, it was 2 years ago. That's when it massively shifted. I'd always had this big sense of, the best way I can describe it, I'm a very animated guy and I get super excited. So I'm just going to, I'm going to give you a heads up because I just let it flow through me.
Please do. Please do. That's why we're here and that's why people have tuned in. See you and feel that passion and the vibrancy from you.
Brilliant. I'm just the medium and it's just flowing through me. I'm just trying to channel the gift. But the best way I can describe it is it's almost like I had this big ball of energy and you can't see my hands, but it's like I've been holding it back my entire life. And, I'm 31 now and I've been through like 6 or 7 career changes and everything from sales and marketing to, 10 years in corporate. And it was like this big ball of energy that I was holding back and I was always wanting to just channel it into something, but I didn't know what that was. And 2 years ago, I hit my breaking point and the floodgates opened and it's like everything just came channeling through. And even as I said this, I can feel the tingle in my fingers because
Me too.
just flows through. It is incredible. I mean, everything just shifted. I went from being this confident guy on the outside that was consistently pushing outwards in the world. My sense of self-worth was completely dependent on other people's approval. I didn't like who I was. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. On the outside, I pretended to be someone who I wasn't, but inside I was just broken and crumbling. And 2 years ago, for the first time, I told myself that I love myself, and I meant it. And in that moment, I saw the beauty in every single other person, and I just recognized in that moment, for me to even say that we are one is, it doesn't even begin to do it justice, because we're not even the same. We are literally we're just a small part of something much, much greater. And I felt it. And I realized that despite everything on the outside, we all go through the same stuff on the inside, and we're all the same inside. And everyone is just beautiful as they are, and I just wanted nothing more than to inspire change in people, not to motivate them. I don't believe in motivation. I believe in inspiration. I believe in leading by example. And that's when the shift happened 2 years ago.
I understand what you're saying, and I was about 2 years ago as well, and also from a literally broken, shattered space, and started to rebuild with authenticity. I learned how to spell the word entrepreneur. And what you said before about us all being connected, and we are, but there's a uniqueness to each of us that bring a different slice of cake to the big cake. And once we can tap into that uniqueness and let that shine from within, we connect like you and I have, like so many of us are pulling together to help others to realize that you are perfect. Not perfectly imperfect, absolutely perfect, imperfections and all. And once people can embrace that, the stuff that we've had to learn was very valuable lessons. And we're going to make mistakes. We're here for a human existence. That's part and parcel of it. But we can also find, if we learn to tune in and tune up, we can just learn so much more about ourselves, about others, about our collective consciousness.
Absolutely. I love what you just said. We're not perfectly imperfect. We are perfect. And I love that. I guess you don't look at a wave in the ocean and saying, hey, this wave is out of whack.
Exactly.
You don't look at a tree. Everything just is. And it's almost like people walk around and we focus on, there's this part of myself that's broken that I need to heal. There's this thing that I need to work on. But if we focus on what is missing, then we just manifest more of it. We attract more of it, and we always find the things and we'll always be finding something to fix. But what if you weren't broken? What if you were just made to feel that you had to be somebody that you weren't, and as a result, your mind was trying to be someone so you can have a sense of identity, but then you tap into your flow and then it takes you somewhere else, and it's actually guiding you to where you actually want to be. But then you think that that's because you are distracted, when in reality, that's just your inner wisdom telling you where you're meant to be. And then what'll happen is you go off and hear someone, and then your mind will kick in saying, hey, hang on, no, you're meant to be down here, come back. And then you'll come all the way back, and then you'll start taking the actions again. And then your mind will wander off again. And then you'll tell yourself, oh no, I'm not good enough, or I have a fear of success, or I have all these fears. But in reality, what if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you are just resisting your true essence and who you really are? Just felt like I had to add that.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel, however, that there are blocks, there are self-sabotage mechanisms, there are lots of things in our past and in our history that energetically we must fix. Or we do keep continuing with the recurring patterns. And there are lots of different techniques upon which you can do that. The mind mastery is the biggest and best. Learning to befriend the ego and really just be okay with things and challenge and ask questions. We've spent a whole lifetime, generations of just accepting, as you said, right up front, the things that we grow up with. And don't get me wrong, our folks did the best they could. I'm the best parent I can be right now. I'm learning to be better at it. But we've got to learn to accept in the mind and know how to flip that around so that the vibration is high to attract, as you said before, also more of what we do want and less of what we don't.
Mm.
And that's when things really flip. Now, how do you do that with your clients in your business?
Brilliant. So, I love, and they're equally as important. I love everything that you just said. So one part is really trusting and amplifying the best parts of yourself. Now, to put it into perspective, with all the people that I've worked with, there's one common thing that I found with everybody, and there's a real structure. So a lot of people will work, you'll go to somebody else and they'll work on the emotions, or you'll go to somebody else and they'll just work on the strategy side of things.
Yeah.
But I believe there's things that must coexist otherwise. So you must have clarity. For you to amplify the best parts of yourself, you must have clarity in who you are. How can you lead with your flow if you don't know what it is? People say, I want success and I want abundance, but can you define to me what success actually means to you? Can you have clarity on, if I have to say, and normally if anybody's watching this, not anybody's watching this.
When they're
watching this. It's kind of like if I had to say to you, write down 5 things of what success means to you. And success, normally means one's like a relationship vision, one's, monetary or a career vision. One is, with your health. And beyond that, it could be a purpose beyond yourself. And, the 5th one could be something you're really passionate about. Outside of that, what are your unique attributes? What are your unique strengths? What make you unique? Because the people that you admire the most, you don't admire them because they're balanced. You admire them because they're outstanding at what they do best and they amplify their outstanding. So, knowing your deepest and most values, your key attributes, having a personal snapshot of who you are and what you stand for. And once you have that, that is the foundation to everything else. And the other part of it is the focus and the momentum to stay on track. But for you to have the focus and the momentum, you need to have the clarity. And then the third element is the emotional mastery, because if you don't have the emotional mastery, you're going to stop your own state of flow because you're going to be triggered by thoughts which aren't even yours.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into now, but they're not even your thoughts. So and once you have this foundation, then let's focus on the strategies, the tactics, and the processes. But the strategies and the tactics, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. It's about, hey, do more of what you actually love and excel at.
Yeah.
Do less of what drains you, because if you have passion, if you have vision, you have a vision that's inspired. And for you to stay inspired, you can not do things which are less than inspiring. Otherwise, there's going to be a disconnect. So, this is the foundation, and nobody speaks about this. It's the clarity, the focus, and the emotional mastery. And this is really the foundation, because ultimately, if I said to you, Michelle, if I had a $20 note in my hand, and I drop that, what's the value of this $20 note?
If you dropped it?
Even if I was holding it in my hand, what's the value of the note?
If you have $20.
Great. And if I took this $20 note, I've actually got a $20 note. And what if I dropped it on the floor and it was covered in mud and dirt? What's the value of the note then?
$20.
And if I stomped on it and rubbed it around, still $20.
$20. Yeah.
No, it's not the external that defines what the value of the note is the note itself. If today I lost everything, then you know what? My sense of self-worth, nobody can take away what I've been through. It comes down to, who you are as a person. If you're charging for a service, if you are having that belief in yourself, people don't pay you by the hour. People pay you for every single time you've fallen down and you've gotten back up. Your value is defined by every single experience, every single dollar that you spend, every single pain, every single time you've told yourself that you are not enough, but then you've pushed yourself to something greater and you've shown yourself that you are. That's what people pay you for, your passion, your presence, for every single time you've said, yes, I am good enough, and you've done it, and that's what your value is.
I can certainly see why you bring out of people their sense of purpose and passion. Absolutely, because you're right. And just listening to you, my heart is just, my internet connection's unstable, so I hope we're good here. Can you still hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, my heart's alive. It's pounding. And you know, a couple of years back, I was not able to find that space of passion and purpose and self-worth. We definitely are in a very fortunate time in our consciousness and global consciousness, because our frequencies, vibrations, and all those things are just moving so fast. And anyone can jump in and jump on for the ride. Is it easy? No. Is it worthwhile? Yes. And if it was easy, it wouldn't be worthwhile, because we wouldn't get the lessons, would we?
No. I just feel like I could talk to you for hours, and I don't know how I'm going to cover everything, because I'm just having all these thoughts that are just coming through. I'm going to calm myself.
Well, I'm happy for you to take the thoughts as they come through, because they will be guided inspiration, and there will be someone listening that those thoughts are for. So I'll be happy to let you be the judge of that. We do have some tips that I'd love you to get through with people as well. In terms of abundance strategies, where do we start?
I think the most important thing is that we're already perfect as we are. So the very first thing that I'd love to bring to attention is, you know, we used to be made to feel that we need to remember all these rules, that we need to have all these things that we need to remember all the time. But there's a reason why your mind can only hold a certain bit of information at a time. Or maybe you're not meant to remember everything. Maybe you're not meant to remember all the rules, because if you are perfect as you are, then hey, you're not meant to remember 20, 30, 40, 100 rules. What if you just lived your life by principles or rules? And the first principle, and saying this, I said this for a long time, but truly embody it, that's the biggest difference. And the thing to remember, abundance, you know, we throw this word around, but when you are present in this moment, you are nothing but pure unconditional love. If you have doubts, if you have fears and anxieties, it's because you're carrying something from the past on your shoulders. And it's something that we've been carrying for decades, for millennia. I mean, even if whoever's watching this right now, if you think of something that you've been carrying for a while, and it might be something that's weighing on your mind, just notice that it's a weight on your shoulders that we really carry, and we've been dragging it for a while. And it gets heavy. Well, what if you just imagine that there was a bubble around you right now, and this bubble disconnected you from anything that happened 10 seconds before this moment, and anything that happened 10 seconds after this moment didn't matter. And you were just completely present in the last 10 seconds and the next 10 seconds. And just notice that weight that was on your shoulders, just notice how it's so easy for you to just let it just drop off and drop to the floor. And from that point onwards, if you just allowed yourself to just have a bit of movement, just feel how light that feels. Because if we're present in this moment, bring your awareness to the now. You know, something as simple as your body. Feel your arms, bring your awareness to your fingertips, to the sounds behind the sounds. And if you are focused in this present moment, then there is no past that's defining you. And there is no anxiousness for the future.
Sure.
You know, and abundance comes from its feeling. We have so much of a focus on, I don't know what my vision is, I don't know what my big goals are, but we get so weighed down on the specific words, but the words in themselves have no meaning. All a word does, it just triggers off a feeling, and all it comes down to is how you feel. So what if you just stopped looking at what words defined your existence? Because how could words, something that have been around for thousands of years, define your existence with everything that you've learned and that we continue to learn? The words do not do it justice. So it's all about the feeling. And if you feel abundant in this moment, what you feel right now, you're a magnet at every single point. If you feel good, then good things will come to you. If you don't feel good, then you know what? You're going to attract that. So the only thing that ever mattered, if there's only one thing you ever needed to know, is that the only thing that ever mattered is where your point of focus is right now. Because where your focus is, where your focus goes, your focus determines your feelings, and your feelings determine your focus. So if the only thing that you had to know was The only thing that mattered was how I felt in the moment. Then the only thing you ever needed to know was just feel good in the moment and just ride that wave.
You know what? I love that. But how, I'm not going to say but, and how do we flip when things are so bad, and that feeling is so dark and heavy? How do we change that to attract that different vibration?
Sure. The number one thing is, so only 2 to 4% of our conscious awareness, well, it is conscious.
2 to 4?
Yeah, 2 to 4%.
Yes, okay.
And 96 to 98% is unconscious.
Right.
So 96 to 98% of who you are right now is your actions, your behaviors, your reactions. They're all automatic based on what's happened in the past. So the very first thing is to take yourself and put yourself in a different environment. Because right now when you enter your room, when you see the same people that you see, they trigger things off in you. So the first thing is always to put yourself in an environment where you can have your own space. And then
Sorry, they say that we are the company we keep.
Absolutely. The best thing I can recommend is put yourself in an environment where you can detach from the triggers that bring things up. And really don't resist your thoughts. Right now we have a part of ourselves. If you're in pain, if you're going through suffering, then there's a part of yourself, and just notice where that feeling is in the body. And just feel into that feeling, and just notice where it is in the body. And once you start feeling where it is in the body, then you just notice what thoughts and what actions, what does it actually mean? Why am I feeling this way? So you almost become the observer of your own thoughts.
Yes, and I like that.
Great, what am I actually feeling right now? Let's give this a name. And did you know that the simple act of naming an emotion lowers the firing threshold of that emotion by up to 50%?
Wow.
Because the biggest fear that drives us as humans is fear of the unknown. Because the human brain is designed for survival. It is not designed for success. It's designed to keep you safe. So the very act of setting a goal or trying to change who you are is challenging your entire existence as you are now. And when you try to change anything about yourself, your brain will fight you. Your mind will kick in and it'll tell you, no, this is why you can't do it. And it'll try to find the flaw in what you've decided. Why? Because the mind wants something to work on, because then it knows it's safe. And something new triggers off the fear of the unknown, which could mean death. So if you identify what the emotion is that you're feeling at the moment, I'm feeling a feel of rejection. I feel that I'll be ridiculed. What's actually triggering this? And we actually sit with and explore it.
Yeah.
Naming what that is, it gets rid of the fear of the unknown, so you are no longer afraid of death. And you identifying exactly what it is and why it's coming up, it just allows you to be so much more at peace with it. And you'll just notice that emotion actually drops.
That's interesting you say that, because that label that we give that emotion, what if it's not that? Like, what if it's not fear or self-destruction or whatever? What if that emotion had a different label called excitement or passion? How different do we go from there?
It's how magic is it that we, on what you just said, we've been given a gift of conscious awareness.
Yes.
The difference between if a monkey was in a tree, I love using metaphors. So there's a monkey that was in a tree and somebody approached the tree and they shook the tree and the monkey fell down. That monkey would climb back up in the tree, and the next time somebody approached that tree, it would just react and it would become angry. Now, that's our monkey brain. That's our monkey brain. But as we've evolved, it's the crowning achievement of mankind, the prefrontal cortex. And we've actually been given the gift of conscious awareness to say, hey, you know what? Cool, my monkey brain is protecting me, but I can actually choose how I choose to respond. So in this moment, you can say, you know what? Yes, I'm afraid. But why am I afraid? Because I'm doing something new. And every time I'm doing something new, this fear is a sign of growth. Thank you, I'm about to learn something.
I love it.
I'm about to grow.
Yeah.
And just that anticipation. And, it's the focus is you can either focus on what's probable or you can focus on what's possible. If you're focused on what's probable, you are stuck in the past, because at any given point, you are a projector. You perceive the future. Let's say, as an example, as I'm speaking to you, you don't know what's going to happen in 10 seconds from now. In 10 seconds from now, you could choose to do the exact opposite of everything you had planned. You can shut your computer down, run out your door, but you automatically have an image of what's going to happen in the next hour or the rest of your day. Why? Because it's simply your past projected out into the future. You just have this feeling.
Yeah.
So instead of letting that projection run us, what if we just focused on what was possible and we focused on all the possibilities?
Yeah.
That could turn the fear into anticipation. So.
Yeah, well, and I really love the analogy too of when you've got the thought or the emotion or the feeling, don't go looking in the past, because the solution you want to get a different result is not there. You absolutely have to look up and look forward, because, you can't go back there. It's going to give you, as you say, 100% agreed, that stuff is there to protect us. It's our primate instinct. It's our fight and flight response. That's its job. And it's doing it beautifully, but it doesn't serve us.
And something just came to me, which was I just love giving people like little aha moments, and I think I've got one coming. So
all right, I'll sit tight for that.
So there's many times that I've spoken to somebody and I've had a conversation with them, and I'll speak to them and they'll tell me they're in a place, and then I'll speak to them 6 months down the track and I'm like, what's changed? They're like, nothing. But 6 months before, they had an opportunity to take an action. They had an opportunity to invest in themselves. They had an opportunity to do something about it, but the fear of disappointment stopped them and they decided to stay where they were. Now, 6 months later or 12 months later, you ask them, and a lot of the time people say, look, what's really changed? Nothing. In some cases, it's gotten even worse. Now, there's one phrase that I really want to say, and it is, it's easier to live a disappointing life than to be disappointed. So,
yes.
What happens is people think, hey, you know what? I'm disappointed now and I can do something about it, but I'm used to this level of disappointment. I'm used to this level of discomfort. And even though I don't enjoy what I'm doing day to day, but hey, at least I'm used to it. And it's easier for me to accept that I'm not good enough than for me to do something about it and risk not being even more not good enough. So if you think 6 months now down the track, well, do you know what? Yes, you would have been disappointed, but you've been living a disappointed life over the last 6 months. So it's not about, people say, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Yes, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, but here's the kicker. The reason why you're not growing is because you already are comfortable being uncomfortable. You're so used to living in the discomfort and the disappointment every single day that you think about, hey, I don't want to go through short-term discomfort. But if you don't do that short-term discomfort, you're going to have consistent, long-lasting discomfort and disappointment. So you're going to be disappointed either way. You have to choose whether you choose it in the short term so you can go beyond it, or you choose to just live in this baseline of disappointment.
Yeah. And that's just stagnating, isn't it? It comes back to what one of your first points was, knowing what success is to you and where you're heading. And I'll throw an analogy in there as well, because I love to talk to people about where they're going and use the analogy of a GPS system in your car. The first thing you do if you want to go somewhere different is plug in an address, and then it takes you there. It gets you to your destination is on the right. But we do our lives, many people do their whole lives without plugging in that destination. So they have no clue whether they're going left, right, straight ahead, or in fact when they arrive, because they don't even know what that is. We spend more time programming our new iPhones than we do our lives. And that needs to change. And people can take 10 years to do that on their own, or they can take a coach on that can fast track it for them and get them through with all of the love, compassion, and joy and abundance very, very quickly these days with the skills that we've gone and learned the hard way.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be so hard anymore if people are ready, really ready to draw that line in the sand and step over it.
I feel that, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, that's all right. And trust.
And, you know, we say this and people might be listening and thinking, okay, great, you know, it's easy to talk about this, but hey, does this really work? The trust and the flow, does this really work? And I'd love to share some stories with you because the best way to lead is through our story. You know, our life is our story, and every single day we get to write a new chapter. And I wanted to share the power of flow and the trust and the abundance and what actually happens, because, you know, a lot of the thing is, you know, it's spiritual and woo-woo and, you know, yes, you know, spiritual people don't have money, but that's just crap. And I want to just tell you the power of what's actually happening and magnitude of what's available to you if you embrace what's been around us, what is in us and through us at all times. Is that okay if I just...
I would love you to. I'm sitting forward. I'm ready.
Okay, brilliant. So, you know, the biggest thing for me, and this isn't about monetary achievement, but this is just an example that you can create your reality. So in the 15th of October, 2014, I went to a seminar. It was a guy by the name of John Ashraf. And you know, as soon as I walked into that room, he said, I want everybody to pull out a pen and paper, and I want you to write down that in 12 months from now, I'm going to 3 to 5 times my income. Otherwise, I'm never going to see the person, you know, one of my family members ever again. Oh. And I wrote that down, and he goes, now, are you going to do whatever it takes? And everybody said yes. So he was just trying to make a point that, you know, when it comes down to it, when you have a big enough reason why, you'll do whatever it takes. And he goes, the only reason why you won't do it is if you are interested, because when you're interested, you do what's convenient, but when you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes.
Yes.
And that really struck a chord with me, and I thought, you know what, I'm committed, I'm going to make this happen. And, you know, I had learned all this stuff about universal energy and, you know, the law of attraction, but not just actual mechanics of quantum physics, neuroscience, you know, so looking at religious texts like, you know, Taoism. I was looking at like tens of thousands of hours just spent learning, embodying, just listening to this inner wisdom that was just flowing through, you know. I'd read a page and all this information would come through, and I was, application, I've got to make this my state of being, you know. And fast forward 10 months later, it was 2 months left, and I was working in a job for somebody else at that point. And there was 2 months left, and I had this deadline, and I thought, you know what, I made a commitment. I had like 5 coaching qualifications, and I was coaching people for free or not charging enough and devaluing myself. And I just realized, you know what, I've just got to burn my bridges. And 2 months left to go before that deadline, I left my job without a single paying client. Ooh. And I just left, and I felt great doing it. I felt incredible doing it. And when you leave, this is what happens. The day I left, I just resigned. I just completely spontaneously resigned. And as I was walking past, I walked past a cafe, and there was this guy that I hadn't seen for a couple of months, and he said, oh, Devesh, and I said hello to him, and he goes, oh, Devesh, come here, I've been thinking about you. And I walk inside, and he goes, I've been wanting to reach out to you. I'm like, why? And he goes, oh, my phone's been beeping, and I don't know why. And he shows me his phone, and it says Devesh resignation. Oh. And I thought, what's going on? And he goes, remember we spoke about 5 months ago, and he told me that you're going to leave your job? And I said, do you give me a date? And I said, yes. And that was the date. Now, you could say that was in my subconscious, because it probably was, and, you know, I probably just didn't recognize it. But here's the kicker. The time that he had in his alarm was 3 p.m. and my boss had been in meetings all day. And she actually came out at like 2:58, and we were, you know, and at 3 o'clock on the dot, I said to her, can I speak to you in a meeting room? And that was the exact time that I actually resigned. And this is just a sign from the universe, a synchronicity, whatever you believe in. Yeah. That same day, I had a friend that called me and said, hey, I want you to coach my sister. And he paid me 3 months of coaching up front. I, you know, jumped on this US-based radio show, and they wanted me to start hosting an Australian chapter of one, you know, and everything was just like bang on that day. Yeah. Fast forward, on on the week that I said it would happen, it was like 2 days later, and the same week that I said, for that week in my account, I got exactly down to the cent, 4 times what I would have got in my corporate job in that week.
Wow.
And this is because I created it.
Yeah.
And beyond that, I found a mentor. And this guy, I had little money left in my bank account. And to hire this guy, it was going to cost me double what I had in my bank account for his program. And I said, you know what? I believe in you, and I want to honor and trust myself. I want to send a powerful message out to the universe that as I am worthy and deserving to believe in myself, to invest in myself. That's the vibration I choose to put out. And I invested in myself, and I couldn't sleep properly for 2 days. But then I forced myself to bring myself in alignment. And when I started working with this guy, he just, it was one of the best things that ever happened. I mean, I just grew so much as a person just making that decision. Within 4 weeks of that date, this guy challenged me, says, Devesh, your time is worth $1,000 an hour. So he goes, you need to leverage that time, whether it's in group coaching or, I want you to find a high-end client that's going to pay that much money.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the money. The money doesn't define you. To somebody out there, I'm worth $0, but to somebody else, I'm worth $10,000. It just depends on their problems. He's like, I want you to find that person with $1,000. And at that point, I only had like $800 left in my bank account. And, I was 2 hours later after that conversation, I went to meet this lady, and she goes, okay, I want to do 4 hours of coaching with you. And at that point, I wanted to work with her because, I'm happy to work at a fluctuating rate. It just depends if I believe in that person. But just because I'd made a promise, I said, no, I can't work with you because the next person that I have to find has to pay me this much, or it has to be my group coaching program. And I felt really good about doing that because I was keeping up to a promise.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but the how is in the universe. How's not up to you. But in 4 weeks from that point, I got my first $1,000 an hour client. It was my only $1,000 an hour client, but I got my very first one.
You don't need too many of those, do you?
No, you don't. And this is the miracle. The thing is, if I had focused on a strategy and being really rigid, then I would have never got it. It didn't logically make sense. And, I don't go around charging people $1,000 an hour now, but it was but the point here is that you're not worth $200 an hour. You're not worth $300 an hour because money doesn't define you. It doesn't matter if it's $1 million or $10 million or $10. Money is just an energetic exchange.
I was going to say we could do a whole nother hour on money and energy.
Yeah.
Because that's a really big one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny, interesting that you did the $20 note thing before, because that could easily be, $1 million check. Crazy when you click into that different vibration of that. That was a great story. I love it. Love it.
I just want to quickly just add, to put into perspective, I then went traveling for 3 months in Europe, and I went with a one-way ticket. And by the time I came back, I doing a completely different service, working with a different level of people. It got down to the point where I was so much in flow and so much faith and trust that I was meant to fly back to Sydney at the end of January. And I was like, you know what? I don't feel like going back. I had a ticket. And I thought, what is my inner wisdom telling me? I'm having a level of resistance to go back. So my inner guidance is telling me that I don't need to go back. So I thought, you know what? I've paid $1,000 for this ticket. I'm just not going to get on that plane. I'm like, where do I feel like going? And Venice came to mind. I'm like, you know what? I want to go to Venice. I thought, and my mind said, hey, how are you going to get the money? I thought, you know what? I'm not going to let money block me because it's just an energy. If I put the energy out there, it'll come back to me. I choose to have this faith. I go on 8 hours later, I'm in Venice. I book my accommodation. I pay my mentor, and I have like $87 left in my bank account. But it's totally cool. I have 2 calls booked in with 2 people, and I just have faith that the universe is guiding me, and I'm going to trust in myself. Well, 10 hours later from that point, I had $4,500 in my bank account. And I knew it was coming. I have this anticipation because I create my reality. Nothing in my physical existence can exist unless I allow it. I choose to take steps off the ledge, and the ground will materialize itself beneath my feet because, you know what? I have warmth in my heart. I have pure intent. I believe in what I do. I'm damn good at it. And I know that if I have that intent and that pureness, then you know what? It will come back to me. And if it doesn't, then I will grow from the experience. immensely. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. And look, I love you choose to have this faith, because this is following that inner wisdom and that inner guidance, and is what gets us the things that we want in our life. If it is light, it's right. If it's heavy, it's not. And if it's heavy, it's, as you said earlier, if it's heavy, it's usually not even ours that we're lugging around with us. So leave it be in the past and look for the future. And I know you're talking money, and I know it's not to brag. It's to prove the point that our intentions are everything. If we intend, and that's why I say straight up the top of the call, set the intention with us to get what you need out of the time we have with you. If your intention is just to keep playing on Facebook while we're chatting, you'll get nothing. You'll miss the gems. You'll miss the reason why you're here. But if your intention is to embrace it, to listen to it again, to connect with either one of us for more information, follow us on our platforms, whatever that may be, or just intend for the next person that you need to be landed in your lap, because it will happen. You will get it exactly as you order. And if your life's in chaos right now, congratulations, you are a very powerful manifester. You have created everything that is surrounding you. You are damn good at it. If you don't like it, create something else.
I love that. I just love to add that you're right. I might be speaking about the money, but it's not about the money at all. And I want to actually add, because look, I believe in transparency, and I believe vulnerability is the ultimate power. As a result of the experience that I went through, it was new to me, and it was all coming to me, and I let my ego get in the way. And I let my vanity get in the way of me truly serving at the deepest level, because a part of me wanted to serve the purpose, and I believed, but I had conditions around how I was going to serve. It was very much around, okay, I've got to leverage my time, and I've got to scale my business, and I've got to do, group coaching, all the rest of it. And I turned a couple of people away because they couldn't afford to work with me, which is fine. That's okay. But it just, having made that money, I actually realized what was important. And there was a part of myself that I gave up because I got distracted by the shiny objects. And that brought me a great amount of pain because my integrity was challenged. And this happens to the best of us, and this is how we grow. And since then, my income has dropped 20-30% of what it was. But I've been happier than I've ever been because I've allowed myself to disconnect. I am not my achievements. I'm not my money.
Not the bank account.
Not the bank account, but our ego wants those things for us to define ourselves. And you know what? Now I'm going to launch another group coaching program soon, but I'm going to make it less than half the price of what my last one was. But the point is that I decided to just work with people one-on-one, and yes, that takes more time and more energy, and I dropped my rates. But I was working with the people that gave me the most amount of happiness and joy. And I know that I can, if I want, I can spike my income out, and I know I can do that. But now it's just about doing what feels good. But before, you cannot do what feels good unless we let the ego drive us to the point where we lose ourselves, and that's how we find ourselves. And I just, and this is it, it's this passion, this purpose. There's people in pain. There's people out there that are hurting, and it's just because I've been given this gift, just because it's flowing through me, doesn't make me any more special than anybody else, and it makes me equally as special as everybody else. It just flows through me. I'm just this gift that we just get to be mediums, but it's flowing through me. I'm not doing anything. It's just coming through me. And the people that need us the most, they're out there. And sometimes we can get fixated on business and niching and who's my target market, but we forget about the most important thing, serving from our heart. If you're connected to your true essence, even as I'm speaking this message, I may not say the right words, and that's totally cool. But as long as I'm connected to what's flowing through me, then I know that you'll feel the resonance in my words, and you'll have integrations through my vibration because you'll feel what I'm talking about. And I think that's the most important thing about how you feel. It's about how you show up. expect miracles. The best things that have happened to your life have come about in ways that you could not possibly imagine. So let go of the need for things to be a certain way and allow things to just flow, because you're a miracle just for the fact that you exist. So, and like attracts like. So how can you not expect miracles when you are a miracle? The day you were born, you beat 1 million sperm to that egg. You were born a winner. The day you were born, you meant the world to somebody. Your parents held you in your arms and they showered you with unconditional love. And right now you mean the world to somebody else. And every single person out there means that to somebody else. So just because they don't mean that to us doesn't mean that they don't mean the world to somebody else. So don't they deserve the best just because we don't see it? Don't they deserve abundance? But the only reason we can get to that space is we allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, you know what? Yes, I've gone through my journey. I made money. I let my ego get in the way. I let my vanity stop me from experiencing the abundance and the joy because my sense of self was dependent on what the world saw me as instead of who I am on the inside. And it's okay to say that. And I want to share that message that I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. Yet we're all perfect. And you make mistakes and you learn and you grow, but everything is as it's meant to be. Stop hiding yourself. Let people show what's inside you, because vulnerability, connection in a world of shiny objects, the thing that people want the most is real,
yes,
or authentic. So just be that. Let people know this is what I'm going through. Life is tough. And then you'll just connect at a deeper level, and the world will be so much better for it.
I honour you deeply for your honesty, your commitment, your willingness to just keep showing up and growing up within that.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I would just love to add also that for those that have any doubt about how special they are, the very, very first thing in our life is a breath direct from our Creator. It starts our life. If you can imagine, our Creator breathes life into us. And that breath is with us for every single breath we take until our last is gifted back to our Creator. We are connected all of the time to that power, that purpose, that greatness. All we have to do is open the door and let it in. Oh, wow. We've been gifted today, have we not?
We have. And I almost didn't want to ruin that with words, because it's... I just wanted to sit with that. That was beautiful. Thank you for that message.
My absolute pleasure. We do have some tips for people. There are 3 here that I'd love to share before we complete our mini, which has turned into a maxi mastermind. We knew this would happen. That's why we created the space for it. So let's go. Number 1, you please share your tips.
I know I've sent them to you in writing, but
have you got them there? I can read them out, and you can.
You know what? Yes, I think I've spoken enough. I'd love to I think you do that. You do it great.
Sure. So number 1 is life isn't about just being more. It's about being less of who we believe we have to be. We can amplify more of who we are all along.
It really is about being less of who we believe we have to be. It's always the world makes you feel you need to be more of anything, but it's not about being more of anything. It's about being less of who you believe you have to be, and just to be more of who you were all along. It's not about adding anything more. It's about amplifying the best parts of ourselves. And so you said that beautifully.
That's gorgeous. And the second one here is, there is no greater price to pay than the price of giving up a part of who you are. When you're in alignment with your inner truth, people will feel in resonance with your personal, professional and spiritual life. They will all increase dramatically, and true abundance will be yours without the hustle and grind.
Ease and flow, and just grace.
Ease and flow equals grace. I couldn't agree more. And finally, the the people that you admire the most aren't the most balanced. They're outstanding at what they do and they embrace their outstanding. Confident people don't fixate on their weaknesses. They double down on their strengths.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
I just don't want to ruin this energy space with words, but I just did.
No worry, even I did it before. Wow. I would love to thank you for your commitment and your contribution to humanity. I would also like to invite anyone that is listening that resonates deeply with our message to take the easy road and connect with someone that inspires you to take the quantum leaps and bounds in your life and turn your crap into snap. Have some fun.
I love that. Crap into snap. Snap.
Yeah. And look, you can find me, guys, at $1,000,000mindset.com, in my community at Entrepreneurs Globally Unite. We've got 5,000 members in there in under 2 years. It's a beautiful space for entrepreneurs to grow, to be nurtured and to be safe and be with like-minded people. Where can people find you, my friend Devesh?
Well, I actually equally have a private Facebook community. It's nowhere near as big as yours. It's called the Academy of Genius.
Beautiful.
Because everybody's a born genius. I do have a website. It's deveshkumar.co, which is currently under construction, but it should be up by the time
It will be.
It will be. And outside of that, trust. It already is. It already is. It is done. But reach out to me on Facebook. Look, I've actually built my entire business just off Facebook because I wanted to show people that, all the excuses, you don't necessarily need websites and business cards to get started. You can get started now. All you need is your heart and your passion. And I am very active on Facebook. I put out content 3 times a day. I put out videos. I share extremely good information. So just connect with me on Facebook. Outside of that, you have my website and you can reach out to the personal group as well.
That's beautiful. Well, with that being said and done, I'd like to wish you, Devesh, a divine future. And to all of our listeners, an outstanding journey. Enjoy the ride. It is magical. With that connection to yourself, you need nothing greater. Thank you for your time, Devesh. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We love you, and we'll see you next week. Bye.